Hey guys, how to know that someone is using you sexually for a spiritual purpose or for a spiritual gain? Most people are got into relationships with people that masqueraded or came to them as people who want to be their lovers or to be in a relationship with them, but little did they know that they were actually being targeted by someone who is using sexual activity for a spiritual gain or for a spiritual purpose. This is the practice that is practiced by many people worldwide who use sexual activity for a spiritual purpose. So I'm going to give you one of those signs to know whether someone is having a sexual intercourse with you for a spiritual purpose or not. You need to be very careful because some people might be engaging in what I'm going to tell you about without themselves being known, without themselves knowing that they are being used by spiritual powers for sexual defilement. That is why some of the people have been made incantations have been made to them long before they were born. They had been subjected to things that they don't know, and they just now live their lives ignorantly, thinking that it is how they want to live, but they are not aware that they've been influenced spiritually. So I'm going to give you one of those ways. One thing you must know is that the devil always uses sexual defilement as a sacrifice to his kingdom, where God is the sexual uncleanness that God doesn't want is what the devil wants. He uses it. That is why number one is, if you find someone who wants to sleep with you or who always enjoys sleeping with you when you are on your period as a woman, the person, your lover or your boyfriend or whoever is, enjoys you the most when you are on your period, you must be very careful, because then you might be sleeping with someone who is using you for spiritual who is using you sexually for a spiritual purpose. So you need to be very careful when you meet someone who enjoys. It's like you turn them on the most when you are on your periods. In the Old Testament, the book of Leviticus, God will always warn the children of Israel not to sleep with a woman who is on a period, because at that time she was considered to be unclean. But you see, in that very same moment where it is a woman is unclean, that is where the devil will always want to come in sexual defilement, because he uses that. So that is why, for example, God will always say that people should not sleep with animals. But you will find people even in our days who still sleep with animals. That is a very spiritual thing. People, when you find them sleeping, developing those unnatural urges to sleep with an animal, it is a spiritual thing. You must know that the person is being possessed or is spiritually influenced. That is why part of devil worshipping that many people are doing, it also includes sleeping with animals. Most of you probably have seen pictures of celebrities, especially USA celebrities, sleeping with animals, and you think that is just for fun. It is not for fun. That is part of devil worshipping. That is what they use. So they always use sexual defilement against people, or to turn people against God, because God hates it. So when you find someone who wants to sleep with you being on their periods, want to sleep with you being on their periods, or rather they want to sleep with you while you're on your periods, you must be very careful, because that person might be using sexual activity for a spiritual purpose. Number two, when you find a person who doesn't want to use contraceptives, who doesn't want to go for contraceptives or use a condom, but they want you to do a pull-out method. A pull-out method is a very ungodly method. That is why in the Bible, Onan, when he practiced it, the Bible said that he did what was very evil before the Lord. He did what was evil before the Lord. So when this pull-out method that people use, it is a very dangerous and demonic thing, that many people use it spiritually for a sexual, they use it sexually for a spiritual gain and for a spiritual purpose, where they are emitting the seed. Sometimes when you are busy emitting that seed, you are busy feeding a certain spirit that you are not aware. When you are busy emitting, to put your seed on the ground or down, it's a very evil thing. It's a very ungodly thing. So while you are busy doing that, some people do that, but while they know what they are feeding at that very same moment. So if you find someone who encourages you to do that, or they love to do that, be very careful, because you might be dealing with someone or a spirit behind that person that is busy devouring you, and you are not even aware. Be very careful with those type of people. Number three, if you find someone rather who doesn't do contraceptives and who doesn't like contraceptive, but they always get pregnant so that they can do abortions, These people, they know, they don't want to use condoms, they don't want to use contraceptives, but they make sure that whenever they get pregnant, you will find that the person is aborted 4 or 5 times. Such people, believe you me, they've been taken over by a spiritual entity that is using them sexually to cultivate their womb, to cultivate seeds and to cultivate sperms, killing those unborn babies. They are cultivating on them. You will be surprised why this person doesn't go for contraceptive. They just want to get pregnant and make abortion. I'm not judging anyone who has done abortion, but what I'm saying is people use that very same method of not using contraceptive so that they can get pregnant intentionally and go and abort, because they are using sexual intercourse as a spiritual gain, for a spiritual gain and for a spiritual purpose. So if you find yourself sexually engaging with this type of people, be very careful, because then you might be involving yourself with a spiritual entity that you don't know. And sexual intercourse is a very deadly thing, and it is the devil's mass weapon for destruction. This is where destinies are killed. This is where people's lives are killed, and this is where potential destinies are harvested and misused and destroyed. Be very careful. Always maintain sexual purity. God bless you. Shalom.